Hello, friends, and welcome to a tradition like no other. That's right, it's the Golf Guru bringing you the 2020 The Masters Preview Show. Going to break down the field, we're going to look at the course, we're going to talk about the people that live there, play there, all that good stuff. We are going to get into this, so let's do it. I'm sure everybody is pretty familiar with Augusta National, but I'm going to break some things down maybe you're not. So, of course, Augusta, Georgia, Augusta National Golf Club, par 72, just less than 7,500 yards. We got bent greens. We got Bermuda fairways. You got 44 immaculate white sand traps. You got water that comes into play on 5 holes, also including Rays Creek. When I say water comes into play, that means it's around the green and could cause some issues, which we've seen last year from Mr. Molinari. You've also got a field of typically 96 players, but for this week, we have 94 players. Joaquin Neiman is out due to COVID, and I believe there was one of the older gentlemen that, just decided not to play. I can't think of the guy off the top of my head. The Masters cut is a little different than usual. Top 50 players make it, and then top 50 in ties, plus any player that's within 10 shots of the lead. Typical pass cut lines, if you look over the last 8 to 10 years, +2 to +7. Course history here is a must. I think the last guy who ever won without ever playing there previously was Fuzzy Zeller back when golf was a whole different game. And if you want to watch the Masters, I highly recommend you check out themasters.com. It's an amazing app. Get on your phone or on a website, and they've got the ability where you can watch certain holes, certain groups, all the stats that we are not going to get and don't have shot link data for this. And on the weekend, of course, you can watch it on CBS. Holes that you can attack here are all the par 5s are live, and there is one par 4 from past history that you can get some birdies on. And then, of course, you got Amen Corner, which starts on 11, ends on 13, and everybody says the Masters tournament doesn't actually start until the back 9 on Sunday, which that is part of the reason why, and we've seen that last year. You also know to the far right, you'll see the past champions year by year, and of course, I don't think that's any surprise. Tiger Woods won back in 2019, which feels like forever ago. If you look at some past course conditions, I just pulled the last 2 years. The only things I'd really pull out of here is the greens are firm, not too far off from what's going on at the Houston Open. You've got the runoffs, the shaved, where you get to make decisions about chipping or putting. You can get out of the rough. That's not that penal. But accuracy off the tee is a premium here, and that shows up in the past stats of the past winners. And from a weather perspective, I'm not worried about what they're saying there, but what I am is you got 4 days of predicted rain. I didn't put anything specific in the weather on this because I'm doing this on a Sunday around 2 o'clock Eastern. And of course, weather can change. But right now, last I checked, it was 70% rain on Thursday with thunderstorms, rain like 50% the next 3 days. So all I'm saying with that is you might want to think about that with your builds. I will also look at that about recommending some players if you are making a build specifically for the weather. Of course, that would be the European guys typically, but we'll see who pops up, who's done well in the weather. And then, of course, you got Patricio Reed. And what you'll notice on past champions is these guys all are amazing ball strikers, amazing with the short game, at least at the time they were playing this. I still put Patrick Reed there. I think Sergio, we all know his putter can, whatever, if he has a hot day with a putter, which is rare, but it just happened at Sanderson Farms, he could be very live. But the guy's been talking about Sergio, amazing off the tee and pretty typically amazing with his approach irons. And they are going to be hitting some long iron shots in here. So duly noted. And on that, so how do you win? We already talked about the par 5s. That's where you got to strike, make your hay, get your pars on the par 3s and the par 4s. Driving accuracy, as I mentioned, is going to be at a premium. So we got to find guys that can drive it accurately. And then the big one, I think, is the guys that don't 3-putt, because compared to an average tour event, you'll see that it is quite a delta that here a lot of people 3-putt, and that's, where it all happens. We also got to look at past Georgia collegiates or people that live in the area or play the course quite a bit, of course. You got past champion Bubba Watson. We got Kevin Kisner and Brendan Todd all played at Georgia Bulldogs at Georgia Tech. Of course, you got Matt Kuchar and Andy Ogletree, who's an amateur playing in this field. Of course, I'd say with both those guys, we're not probably too worried about them. I mean, used to be with Kuchar that you could just kind of smash him in there and not, and not have a worry. But now with the game the way it's been, it's a worry. Kevin Kisner, though, might be someone live. I don't know if you remember the Dell match play where he won. Weather was definitely a factor. It was cold, it was windy, and he just grinded it out and beat a really good field. Heads up. So Georgia residents, of course, you could put Patrick Reed back on that other slide, but because he went to Augusta State University, I think he did a year at Georgia Bulldog. I moved him over here, but of course, he's a past champion. And then on the far right, you got Zach Johnson, past champion, who lives in St. Simmons, Georgia. Of course, born in Iowa, but has played a lot of golf here. And then Charles Hall, who is actually very rare, but he was a member at Augusta and still lives right, as far as I know, right on off one of the holes on the course. So if anybody knows this course, it should be him. But his past history here has not been that great. And then if you look at the player field real quick, all I did here was just pulled up the top 20 guys from a shocking category. And this is just recent form. This is not looking at Augusta National. This is just taking, since pretty much the restart, how these guys have been playing. And no shocker that DJ, Rahm, Schauffele, DeChambeau, Thomas are all at the top. And then, of course, you got Mr. Jordan Spieth there in the corner there. It should be Danny Willett actually on this, and then Spieth, but I didn't put Danny Willett on here. Again, I think that was an anomaly due to weather, but give him credit. He still won it, man. Let's talk about just a few of the guys that are, kind of who everybody's talking about are at the highest of the money list. And here's number one. And pretty much for quite a while now, everybody said this tournament's over. Give it to DeChambeau. He's going to win it. The betting odds are telling you that that's the case. But I've got a couple of my own thoughts with this, and we'll just talk it through here. But so if you look at DeChambeau, favorite putting surfaces, where he gains or does his best, bent is just neutral. Bermuda and actually Poa is his best surface. And what I think call for this course and why people think that DeChambeau is outright going to win this is because of what he's been doing off the tee, and that he can take lines that other people can't. So literally where he can go for almost greens where other guys are hitting, their hybrid or 3-wood or, a long iron off the tee to make sure they position him correctly. Now that can happen, but what also can happen is if he's a little off, especially if he's putting a new driver in the bag, from what I've heard, the 48-inch, and it all doesn't go well, is instead of the birdie opportunities or even eagle opportunities, he's going to be having double bogey and triple bogey opportunities. If you look at his past stats over the year there, approach to the green and around the green are two of his lower stats. Putting and off the tee, of course, is where he's been gaining. If you look at his history at the Masters, and I'm not really taking this into a whole lot here, but he's never cracked the top 20 in his 3 events here. Now, all I'm saying to that is people also say because of his way he mentally breaks down a course and thinks things through, that he'll also, that's a plus for him. And I'm not saying it is or isn't, but again, what I've watched a lot of Bryson this year. And of course you had the win at the Open, you had the Rocket Mortgage. But typically where I've seen him shine is where he doesn't really have to worry a whole lot about if the driver gets a little off. For how far he hits it, how accurate he is amazing, but he's still not that accurate. And I would almost rather lean to the guys that are putting the shots exactly where they need in the fairway. I don't care if they have a little longer in, but look for the guys with a better approach, better around the green, and better putters. That's just my thoughts. And so for the price standpoint, where I think you can go to DJ for like over $1,000 less, I probably would be fading Bryson. And I'm not telling you should do that. I'm just saying from my standpoint, I probably won't be putting a lot of builds with Bryson there. Will I have 1 or 2? Maybe, but it won't be the bulk of my builds. All right. Now, Jon Rahm, I think, if you look at this again, what he gains off the tee is just behind DeChambeau. From a putting perspective, he, again, just behind DeChambeau, but the approach to the green, he is superior. And around the green, he's a little less. And so, again, for my money, I'm already, like I said, this is not without doing a ton of analysis, but if you put me between the two, I'd pick him. And also, oh, by the way, he's positive strokes gain on bent grass. In his Masters past history, also 3 events, he had a 4th, a 9th, and a 27th, which again, you know, and we've seen the way Rahm's been playing. So again, that's my thoughts on this right now. I'm not saying that's all the way it's going to be done, but if we're just looking at some of the top guys. You also got Justin Thomas, which funny enough, not a lot of people are talking about JT, but if you look, as I mentioned, the 2 key stats that I'm going to be looking for is approach to the green, around the green. Of course, his putter is lacking, but the first 3 are right where we want him. He's also gained strokes on bent, and he's also played the Masters 4 times and had a 12th, a 17th, a 22, and a 39. So you can see he's progressively gotten better each time he's played it, which that makes total sense. This course, the more you play it, the more you're going to have success because you're going to know where to miss it, especially, you know, approaches on the green, off the tee, everything about it. You also got Xander, which, you know, I'm sure he's going to be a smash for everybody. It's going to be putting a lot because, as you see, he doesn't do anything, bad. And we know what he does in the majors. And he is actually, his favorite surface is bent grass. And he's only played here twice, but he went from a 50th to a 2nd place in 2019. So again, I think he's going to be pretty live. I like him as a setup. Then I threw Brooks in here. Just because right now, like I said, he's, you know, showing a little bit of life at the Houston Open. I think he's in 4th place right now. Carlos Ortiz is leading, amazing enough. But you know, also Brooks, there's a lot of open areas that we just don't know. His health still. His game is getting a little better from tournament to tournament that I've seen. But around the green isn't as strong. But his putting there rated there is kind of a little shocking to me. But again, this is a culminated shot gain for the 2019-2020. So I don't believe that so much. I think Brooks is actually a pretty solid putter, especially 10 feet in. But yeah, someone else to consider. I think he's going to be less owned. Also, from a putting perspective, he does gain a bent. Bermuda's his favorite. And same as Xander at a 2nd place last year, 11th and 21st. So same kind of thing that you like to see. Progressively has gotten better at Augusta as he's played. And that's it. I don't know if I mentioned, but yeah, Joaquin Niemann's out due to a positive COVID test, which stinks because he won the Greenbrier in 2019 and was actually the first one that was exempt to get into this. You got Victor Hovland, as I think I mentioned, he is out and he just didn't qualify, and that wasn't due. Just he didn't have enough game at that time before. And Daniel Berger, amazing enough, he cracks the top 20 as in player or world rankings, but just didn't have enough points or whatever to get in this tournament. So just some heads up on that. And with that, and I am going to be doing a promotion. And so here's the promotion. So what I'm going to be doing is for 5 of my subscribers. So if you are new to this, you need to subscribe, hit the like button, and tell me from 8,000 and below who is your favorite play. So I'm going to say it again. If you're already a subscriber, that's fine. But if you're not, please subscribe, like what you're seeing here, and tell me who is your favorite play from 8,000 and below. I'm going to pick 5 random people that comment on that, and I'm going to be sending you $20 to enter into the Million Maker for the Masters. So please like, share, subscribe, and give me a comment on who you think is your favorite play below 8,000, and I will randomly pick 5 folks, and I will PayPal you over $20 so we can get you a free buy-in. And with that said, I'm going to leave you with a little Masters intro just to get you ready for this upcoming weekend. And tomorrow I'll be releasing my top plays and fades. I'm trying to get everything out just a little earlier to let people do a little more digestion, even me. And I appreciate it so much.